What is up? What is up? Did I see you, Jay? Did I see you, Jay? Of course. Did you guys see you, Jay? All right, let's just get this adjusted. 1 second. Just fixing this up. All right, perfect. Take profit 4. Oh, you guys don't see me. No wonder. I had this thing topped. No wonder. All right, there you go. Yeah. Because I have this little thing that covers the camera. I don't be trusting this shit. You know, there's some crazy hackers out there. I don't trust that shit. I'll be out here without a shirt sometimes. You never know what they can edit. So you gotta be careful. All right. So let me what happened to my nose? So I was boxing earlier today and this guy clocked me right in my face. But it is what it is. I went 4-1 today. So I beat 4 guys and I lost 1. So I mean it was pretty good. Positive risk to reward. You know what I'm saying? Positive risk to reward. Yeah, I've been boxing for like a year now. Almost. I mean, no, I'm totally talking shit. Probably for like 8 months, 9 months. All right, perfect. So before we get into the trade, we're just gonna do this. We're just gonna finish up our trade from yesterday. Where are the confluences we had for USD JPY? I think it was just this, right? So we'll put this over here for now. We already know this. We already know this. Okay, so we know this. Okay, whatever. I guess we'll just bid that out again. Like it's really not a big deal, right? So we go to our confluences. I'm just gonna type up our confluences for this trade right here. I mean, you guys remember yesterday exactly what we were waiting for, right? If you guys go down, you guys just go back and watch the recording. Like everything is literally there. I explained to you guys, I am waiting for the break of the lower high. I was gonna make the 4-hour bullish. Once it breaks it, that's where I wait for the pullback on the lower time frames. You go to 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, whatever looks cleaner, and then there it is. Your break, your retest, your engulfing, and that's it. Now you guys are seeing how the strategy played out perfectly from what we explained. Like I personally myself, I wasn't looking at the market when this was happening. But if I would have gotten my entry, it would have been right after this engulfing. So my stop loss would have been here, stop loss under here. And then my take profit would be a daily structure point since I'm buying at a daily zone. So my daily structure point would be this daily zone right here, giving me a 1-2-4 risk to reward. Like it's literally that simple. But what I do want to do is I want to build out all of the confluences as a whole. So we see it because I remember yesterday it was 50%. And then if, you know, because we didn't have the stuff, if we were to add the stuff, it would give 90%. You guys remember? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. I mean, it's literally like right in the end of the last recording. So you would have entered and held over the weekend. Probably, I mean, depending where I entered, probably not. I usually don't take trades on Friday unless it's like before 9 in the morning because there's only like 4 hours left of like actual movement, right? You know, like there's not going to be nothing crazy that happens at the last hour of the market. You know, there is a possibility that it does, but you know, it's never always like guaranteed, right? So we know the weekly is bearish. We already did this. How do I know? Because I see this every day. So I'm already used to it, right? So you understand it shifted bullish. 2. So we are at daily area of interest. This is 1. So we're going to do what we do every trade. All right. So we already have this. Are we touching EMA? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. Okay, exactly. So we are touching the EMA. Do we have a candlestick rejection? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. Exactly. So we have candlestick rejection daily. Then do we have a, let's just mark this off, rejection from previous structure point? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. Okay, so we have rejection from previous structure point. And then do we have a round psychological level? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. Exactly. So we have round psychological level. We confluence 6, round psych level. So if you notice, all of these confluences check off, which is fire. That's exactly what you want when you're going to take a trade. If you guys understand everything, type 1. If you guys don't, type 2. Can we add the percentage of the weekly area of interest even if it is bearish? So I'm just going to copy this question, put it here. Can we add the percentage of the weekly area of interest even if it's bearish? So this is the first thing that I explained on the second day. If we are bullish, we are only looking for areas of interest on the time frame that we are bullish. We can't look for an area of interest on the weekly if the weekly is bearish. Perfect. A lot of ones. Could you please explain the difference between intraday trader and swing trader? I mean, it's like, let me see. It's like the difference between driving a car and driving a truck. You're both driving, you're just driving a different type of car, and that's it, right? It has the same mechanism. It's all the same thing. It's the same thing with this. When you're intraday, you're just holding with 2 or 3 days. When you're swinging, you're holding a little bit longer. That's pretty much the only difference, but at least for me. Would it be daily rejection if it wicked at the area of interest, or would it have to be bullish or bearish, vice versa? Yeah, like you want the bodies and wicks inside the zone. Don't you have to check the weekly? I mean, we already did. We already know it's bearish. I mean, we did that yesterday. Thanks for answering, of course. Do you only trade London and New York? So I only look to enter trades that are in London or in New York. So I wait for my entry confirmation to shift the structure. Whenever it happens, I take the trade. But I try to take the trade the closest in the sessions because it just makes the most sense. You're going to have a shift of structure probably in Asia, but then right before London starts, you'll have the engulfing, or vice versa. You'll have the shift of structure in London, and then in New York, the engulfing comes in. So it's just wherever it happens, I just try to stay in these 2 sessions. I try my best to not take a trade outside of these sessions. When grading the trade, do you have to grade weekly, daily, or just one of them? So yeah, I say that in yesterday's Zoom call. That's what I'm telling you guys, the recordings are key, right? All right, cool. So we're gonna move on. So we understand that this is already all on the weekly and the daily, right? So now we're going to move on to the lower time frame, which is the 4-hour. So let's just add all of this here. Like it's really this simple, right? I'll come here. All right, so this is pretty self-explanatory. So after analyzing all of these, and checking off the ones from the list, then we move. We then move on to the 4-hour. That makes sense, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2. I just put it all together like in steps. So this would be So first step, are we bullish or bearish? Need time frames in sync. After that, we look for our area of interest. We look for these confluences. After that, we then go to the 4 hour. If you guys understand type 1, if you guys don't, type 2. Cool. So now we are on the 4 hour. So now in the 4 hour, we're just going to come here. I'm going to bring this down here. All right, perfect. So now in the 4 hour, obviously, that we had broken above, we could only look for these right here. So were we touching the EMA at the point we were looking to enter? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. Correct. So we come here, 7. Now, before anything, let's just do all this real quick so we know exactly where everything is. Do we have a candlestick rejection on the 4 hour? So at the time of this did not have a candlestick rejection. When we were taking this was like wicking down. A 4 hour candlestick rejection would be this right here, a doji, or this right here, this morning star, this wick doji, these doji. So as of right there, we did not have a 4 hour candlestick rejection. And we were rejection from previous structure points, type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. So we were touching, retesting previous structure point. To me, I would count it because we were retesting it on the lower time frames. I can see why you guys can maybe get it a little bit tricky. But for this example, let's just say on the lower time frames, we were retesting it. Yes, on the 4 hour, technically no, because the 4 hour wasn't creating like a solid higher low, right? Like it wasn't doing like a full, like it didn't do this right here. If you notice, this is the lower low, lower high. Then this is the higher high and then higher low. You see, this would have counted as the retest of previous structure point because it like retested this structure point, right? This one kind of didn't really do that. Does that make sense? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. So for the 4 hour, this really wouldn't be retesting the structure point. On the lower time frame, it would, but you know, it is what it is. So all we have is this. Then all we need to do is wait for the shift of structure on the 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, whichever one is cleaner. And then this is a total of a 10%. And then my bullish or bearish engulfing is the same thing, 1 to 10%. So we had a shift of structure on the 2 hour, on the 1 hour, 30 minute, on all of them, right? We had the shift of structure. So we'll add here as confluence 8, shift of structure. And then for 9, we will add a 30 minutes bullish engulfing candlestick. As this one right here, bullish engulfing. So 9, 30 minute bullish engulfing. And then this would be 10% and then 10%. So if we were to add this up, let me see if my math is good today. 20, 30, 35, 45, 55. I'm doing good so far, right? 60, 65, 75, 85, right? Is that looking good? Let's go. I mean, when you get hit in the head boxing, you kind of get a little slow. So if this right here is a 85%, that means that this is a B trade setup, which this right here is fire. An A setup or above is a 90%. You guys saw that? We literally did this trade together live from 0 to 100. We started off the week here. We then came to here. We then locked all of this in, and then we finally ended off here. And then we saw the trade play out together using the strategy as perfectly as it gets. Do you guys have any questions regarding this, the entry, anything? Crazy to see it live. Yeah, we literally saw it live, like the whole entire thing. The whole entire thing. Bro, this is perfect. I'm excited. I actually took the trade. Yeah, if you took the trade, congrats. I wish. I mean, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a context for next week. I think this next week is gonna have a pullback coming to here. Because if you go down to the 4 hour, the 4 hour it needs a higher low, right? So what is this? What is this point right here? All right. You guys are seeing how this is the importance of everything. This is the higher high. And then the higher low, where would it be? Let's see if you guys are activo. Where would the higher low be? Would it be at point 1 or 2? 1 or 2? All right, all right, all right. Exactly. Neither of them. It would be at this point right here. You guys are seeing how you guys would have made that mistake at the beginning. You guys are seeing how just with 3 simple days, look how clean you guys see everything. So now we understand that this is the higher low and this is the higher high. We already know what we're expecting. We're expecting this. And when this has this pullback, we just wait for the shit destruction, the lower time frame, and then we get in. Simple. What do you guys think so far? Easy money, right? Easy money. Fire, fire, fire. So I'm going to put an alarm kind of like right here in the middle of this. So instead of it breaking the lower high, and be like creating higher low. Fucking easy once you see it. I mean, I told you guys at the beginning, I showed you guys this dude right here. So we found this guy, bro. We found him. All right. We found where is Waldo. So now we know Waldo is right here. I'm kidding. I have no idea where he is in these pictures. But the point is that we understand that now you can't unsee it once you have fully seen it. So I think this is super dope that we're doing this live. So I just put the alarm here and we'll just see and we'll let it rock. Perfect. When looking to take a day trade, you still look for 70% plus. Yeah, my ideal trade that I try to take is a 70% and above. Everybody has a different risk tolerance. Some people are willing to risk percentage on a 60% trade. That is all depending on you. Why did I put it in the middle? I just put it here. It doesn't really matter. I just want to be reminded when it has a pullback. When do you put break even after taking some trades? So I actually never go break even. I just set and forget. It either hits me at my take profit, hits me at my stop loss. Because I've gone, I used to go break even, but every single time I get break even, the trade has a pullback, it wicks me out, and then it goes to my take profit. So for me, I risk a certain percentage that I am totally okay with losing. So I just rather get stopped at a loss or take profit and win. The last thing I want to do is get stopped at a break even and then it go to my take profit just because I want to cover my risk. If I'm okay with losing the risk, there's no need for me to cover it. That's kind of my methodology behind it. But if you aren't okay with losing your risk, then cover it. I'm totally okay with it. So at what point would you like to scale into position on the smaller time frame? Great question. So I don't scale in. I just take one position and that's it. Because when like every single time I take a trade, I got to do this. If you can scale into a position and you can build this out for me, fine. Go, show me. Every position that I take has this width inside of it. But if you're scaling in a position, I could guarantee you're no longer buying at a daily area of interest. If you're scaling in, that means that the move has pushed away. That means that you're not touching an EMA. If you're scaling in, you're not buying with a daily candlestick rejection because you're buying in the middle of the move. You're not like you don't have the previous structure point because you're in the middle of the move scaling in, and you 100% probably don't have a round psychological because you don't have an area of interest. You guys are seeing how simple that is, right? You guys are seeing how by just simply sticking to this, literally just sticking to this, it avoids any single losses. So to scaling in, that is my answer. If you can build this out, by all means. But if you can't build it out, then I don't make it making sense. I need to do this for every single one of my trades. And for scaling in, I just can't see myself doing that. That's so smart. That's how you only take one trade. Yeah. No, it could just reject the EMA. A rejection of the EMA is fine. Would you add the double bottom pattern? Not really. I mean, if you want to add it, just add it here, give it a 5%. So this would be a 90%. I guess, yeah. But I mean, the structure matters. The structure is giving you that. So, all right, cool. So any questions regarding this? You guys understand it to the T. Everything is just practice, 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 practice. I saw the recording 3 times. Did you guys see the recordings? How many did you guys saw it? Did it clear things up? Was it helpful? I'm telling you, like, once you see the recordings, I'd say a minimum of 2-3 times along with this one, it just clears things up so much because, like I said, it's your first time seeing it, so you got to like catch up with it. But yeah. So today we got psychology. So you guys know I do everything simple. Everything is straight to the point. Everything as clear and as simple as it gets, right? So I forgot to add this one. So these are all of the psychological barriers that I see, that I saw myself running into, and that I see people running into. What grade level do you use to know if the risk is 1%, 2%? Actually, great, dude. This question was actually asked yesterday and I never got to answer. So before I get started, I'm going to answer that question. You guys see my calendar, correct? Perfect. Okay, cool. All right. So this is to this answer right here. Damn, whatever. Basically, the question is, what grade level do you use to know if the risk is 1 or 2%? For example, an A trade, do you risk 2%? For a B trade, do you risk 1%? Great question. And basically, the question that I have for that is, every single month is different, right? So let me bring this out. All right. So every single month is different, right? Obviously, we have Q1. We then have Q2, Q3, and then Q4, right? We understand there's 3 months in each quarter. So every single quarter, the markets move different. Every single month, the markets move different. So a lot of traders, their P&L can go like this, and then out of nowhere like this, and then back like this, and then like that, right? There's never a steady growth of just like this. This is what I like to see when you're obviously trading. You want to see a steady growth to the upside. The only way of doing that is by sticking to the same risk management month after month, week after week, right? So I don't care if I have an A trade, B trade, C trade, D, doesn't matter. I risk the same percentage per trade in the month. So what do I mean by that? Every single month, like the first of every month, I decide what percentage I'm going to risk. Let's say I'm going to risk 1%. I stick to the 1% risk for all of May for the whole entire, let me just put here 1%. 1% for the whole entire month of May. I don't care if I lose 2 trades in a row, 3 trades in a row, win 5 in a row. I don't care. I'm sticking to my 1% a month. That is all that matters. Because if you risk 1%, you win 1 trade, you get a 1 to 3 risk to reward. And then on the next trade, you risk 2% and you lose it. Now you're down 2%, you're only up 1. And the next trade, you only risk 1% and you only make back. So like you're constantly fighting against yourself. Whenever you try to up your risk, you always lose. You lose all your profits. So the way that how I fix that is I just stick to the same percentage every single month. So if you realize, I always withdraw my profits at the end of the month, and then I start a new account at the beginning of the month. I mean, I just start risking a new percentage at the beginning of the month. So I say June. I know June is fire. It's tended to be good for me in the past. I risk 2%. So I stick to 2% throughout the whole entire month of June. I don't care if it's an A setup, B, C, it doesn't matter. I use the same percentage throughout the whole entire month. So my P&L looks like this rather than like this. Does that make sense? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. It's very, very simple. Smart. Best way to stay in the game for the long run. I mean, we're all here to be, we're all here to be here for the long run. Like there's no, not like being here for long. Like everything here has to be long. Trading is not going anywhere, and it's not really the most ideal thing to make a lot of money quick, because if you do, then you just don't know what to do with it. All right, perfect. All right, so psychology. So psychology, right? This is what I figured that it came down to when it was when it was like the struggle, when I was in the beginning of it. It was a series of things. Comparing yourself to others, obviously, never satisfied with your own goals. Let's say both you and I would take the same UJ trade, and then I put 100 lot, you put 10 lot, right? You're obviously comparing yourself to me. You're not happy with your trading, so on and so forth. Confidence. Confidence is you're not sure if you're ready for the trade. The trade's going to go in your favor. If I should take, if I should get out here, if I should get out there, there's just lack of confidence in your trading. Emotions. When you're up, you're happy. When you're down, you're sad. So this is probably one of the bigger ones, because emotions pretty much create like a snowball spiral effect to a lot of other things, right? And then we have greed and fear. We know what all that is. Greed, we never have enough. And then fear of losing it, or fear of not being able to achieve it or obtain it. Money mindset, I would say, is probably not something that you're born with, but it's definitely something that you got to learn. It's like a strategy almost. Like you can't just have a money mindset right off the bat. Like if you're not raised around money, or just don't understand money, you just won't get it, because you don't have the mindset to it, right? So I'm gonna try my best to incorporate that to you guys. Then we got procrastination. This is probably one of the biggest ones, because we do this all the time in our everyday lives. And I'd say it pretty much like snowballs effects in all of this, right? Then we got obviously risk management, and then we got FOMO. So this right here, I'm going to just categorize them from 1 through 10, right? So I'm just going to do this. All right, let me just do this. All right, so I want you guys to just put the number that you feel like you are struggling the most with. Take your time. It is not a rush. I'm going to literally get up and come back in 1 minute. So whatever number, it could be multiple different numbers. Like do them all together. Just be like this, like 1, 4, and then 7, for example. So whatever numbers more resonates to you. Take your time. Be back. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So I should have given you guys a type form. We're just going to do it live right now. I'm just going to do this. We're going to. Well, one of you guys put all of them. You guys are funny, bro. Literally put 1 through 8. All right. I'm just putting a dot next to the ones that you guys selected. Okay. Okay. This is crazy. Because it's kind of playing out exactly how I figured. Almost done. Because I want to know where I should put my priority into. And then we got, last but not least, FOMO, fear of missing out. I'm gonna try to make this as like fun, as like funny as I possibly can. But do you guys understand? Because everything is just perspective, right? You guys got to just understand everything is just the way you look at things. So, as you guys can tell, the majority of you guys are having struggles with emotions, confidence, greed and fear, risk management, and FOMO. Not saying money mindset is not important, not saying, oh, and then we kind of have, and then I guess like the like last but not least would be like procrastination, right? Which, believe it or not, this is actually the one, like this is the number one. Like this is the number one in front of all of these because it's a snowball effect. I like purposely I put them not in order, right? So because it's kind of like a psychological thing, right? So I want you guys to understand that everything you guys are seeing here, it's literally, let me see how, it's literally you. All of these things that are going on right here, it is you. There is nobody else that can fix whatever you are feeling, whatever you are going through. So this is my philosophy right here. I think there is a start of emotion, of psychology, and then this start snowball affects everything else, and it's the root of it is all the same thing. You just give it a name or an excuse to everything else, like how people do support and resistance, supply and demand, roof and floor, consolidation, lateral, sideways, choppy. It's all the same shit. You guys understand what I'm saying, right? Type one if yes, type two if no. Whoever said that at the beginning, the lateral markets, that got me, bro. That got me. So I'm just using the same analogy to you guys, right? So this is the order that, to me, I personally believe that it is the true, I'd say, like the snowball effect of it, right? So this is what I think. Let's do this. I'm gonna freeze it, and I want you guys to put it because I want to see what you guys think as well, right? Because I'm trying to I'm trying to get inside your guys' head and understand you guys. So I'm just gonna freeze the screen. I'm gonna put it. Okay, almost done. Fuck, I fucked up the order. 1 second, guys. So I want you guys to type in the chat what order you think it is. Like, which one do you think goes first? Which one do you think goes second? So just put 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1, 8, like whatever order you think it goes in. So let's say you think first is risk management, put 7. If you think procrastination is second, then put 6, so on and so forth. Just finishing it up. Okay, so we got 6, 1, 2, 4, 7, 6, 2, 4. Okay, very interesting. 6, 6. So a lot of you guys are starting with 6, procrastination. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. All right, so FOMO, risk management, person starts with 7. Okay, so this is going to be personally what I think myself after analyzing, just a bunch of traders, right? Like my DMs, what I read in Discord, the one-on-ones that I do. This is the order that I've come down to having it, right? So I think this is the order right here. If you noticed, I didn't put money mindset just because I just had to throw you guys off. This really doesn't matter in trading. Like, this has nothing to do. Like, I just threw it in there just as something. Like, money mindset is cool, like when you understand money. But let me explain to you the flow of my thought process. Before you guys knew who I was, like, the reason why you guys are here is because you guys are comparing your current state to mine. So you're comparing your life, your success to my success. So I have a symbol of success to you guys. So you're comparing yourself to me. So you invest in yourself by purchasing this mentorship. So you obtain whatever I have. So this, believe it or not, is messing with your psychology, because right off the bat, you're already comparing yourself to me because you think that I have something that you don't. If that makes sense, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2. It's very deep, but when you think about it, it's simple facts, right? So as you're comparing yourself to others, this leads to a confidence doubt, because like, damn, I'm too old. This little Cuban kid, he's 22 years old, he has all this stuff. I'm 27 and I don't have it. So you start lacking confidence because you're like, damn, will I ever be able to attain what he has? So now not only are you comparing yourself to me, but now your confidence is lacking. And then you start making new excuses where it's like, you know what? This right now, like this confidence that you're lacking, this kid has all this time to make all this money, whatever, because he doesn't have a job, right? So he has all the free time in the world. So that leads you to procrastinating. Since you don't have the time that I do, or you're not as young as I am, or whatever, you make an excuse to start procrastinating. Oh, I will I'll watch the video later. I'll watch the recording after the next Zoom. I'll do this, I'll do that. You find the reason to procrastinate because you're lacking your confidence and you're comparing yourself to me. After you start procrastinating, you don't start getting the results you want, or you just start entering this just emotional spiral effect, which leads to many other things due to your procrastination. Now, back to procrastinating, like this just goes with like everyday life and everything that you have. So like, I don't procrastinate shit. Like, I am a very organized person. Like, I don't even procrastinate. I can't even think of the slightest thing. But let's say like, let's say you put your shoes next to your drawer. Like, oh, I'll just put them on top of the drawer when I get back home from work, or I'll wash the dishes when I get back. Like, you're just like having this buildup of stuff that, let's say you leave the blanket when you get off the couch thrown, you leave the shoes down, you don't wash the dishes, you throw the trash when it's fully full. So when you come back from work, you have this buildup of things that you've been procrastinating that you're like, you know what? I'm gonna do all that stuff now, but then I don't got time to watch the recording. You get me? So like the buildup of procrastinating stuff accumulates, which gets you emotional. So once you get emotional, you're gone. Like that's it. You're not the same person anymore. You're blinded by your emotions. So then when you start taking trades and you start doing whatever you're doing, you start getting greed and fear because you are either scared to lose it or it's not enough. So this is where you lose the risk management. You don't respect it. And then after risk management, it's just fear of missing out. So you sound like my therapist. So this is my chain reaction, my thought process when it comes to psychology and trading. And it all starts with one simple thing, and that is all comparing yourself to others. It all begins with that. If you stop comparing yourself to others, you will completely change as a person. I compare myself to myself. So I have this thing, right, where I'm in a competition with myself. So every single month, like for example, like businesses, right? So businesses, their goal is to grow their growth from last month, right? So last month, let's say they made 100,000, their growth is to scale 20%. So they want to make 120,000 the following month. Then after that month that they make 120,000, they want to scale another 20%, but they scale 20% from the 120. So it's like this compound growth over time. That is all I'm doing every single time. I am in competition with myself. So I'm not even talking about a money thing. Like it's not about how much money I make. It's about like everything that I do. So for example, last month, what did I do? And I look at it literally on every like single month basis. Last month, I gave away 10 challenges. I had 100K day, whatever. And I basically do it on a point basis. I would score myself 70%, 85%, whatever. And then my goal is for the next month to grow every month by 20%. So if you guys realize, that's why I'm giving away the Lambo this month, because I'm done a fuck ton of shit. So I gotta like scale it up like every single month. So after this, I'm gonna probably give away like a Bugatti or something. No, I'm totally kidding. That's not the case. But the point is, like, I'm comparing myself to myself. So I don't care if the guy next to me has a better car than me. I don't care if the guy next to me is doing 1,000 lots. Like, I don't care about any of that stuff. Everything that I do is with me. So if I'm better than myself last month, if I'm 15% better, that makes me more confident because I know I'm getting better. If I am more confident in myself, I'm not going to be procrastinating anymore because I know I'm working towards something. So it gets me out of procrastination. It gets me to get things done. If I'm getting things done, I'm not emotional. I don't care if I'm like losing a trade or not. I don't care if I get wicked out. I don't care because I know I'm working to myself to get better. I'm not greedy or I'm not fear of anything because I know I'm comparing myself to myself. I already know how risk management works. And then I got no FOMO because I know the market's not going anywhere. You guys see how all of this is like crazy as shit. It's all like it's just looking at yourself in the mirror type thing. I feel like you're talking directly to me. Why do I feel like you're talking to me? Yeah, this is crazy. Did you start? Yeah. I mean, do you guys have any questions so far with this? Right. This is just, I'd say, like the part one to it. Like this is like I'm trying to get deep but simple because I don't want to be on a rant here for like 2 hours talking about psychology because it all comes down to this. Truthfully. What do you guys think? You just helped me be a better man. You're better than my psychologist. Yeah, so I'm not a professional psychologist. I'm just speaking based off of personal experiences. So I used to compare myself like, oh, I made more money than this guy last month, or he made more money than me. And that kind of messed with me a little bit because I felt like I was like I wasn't like I was just in competition with the other person. But you got to realize, like, you can't be in competition with me, right? Like as of right now, I'm ahead of the race 2, 3, 4, 5 years of you and account size, right? You got to compare yourself to yourself. So when you get to where I'm at, if you keep the compound interest, you pass me. You get me? But you can't get in the race wanting to get to where we are without having the modifications. So all these modifications, you got to start building them yourself. Eye-opening. How do you balance the procrastination and not being on the charts 24/7? So I'd say this one's relatively simple. If you already analyzed all of these charts and you only have 3 pairs, and none of these 3 pairs are either at your area of interest, none of them are having your shift of structure, or none of them are in profit, you just gotta wait. Like right now, what good does it do me to be like this all weekend, just waiting for the market to open for it to do this or this? Like nothing. That's why I set my alarms. So how do I balance the procrastination and not being in front of the charts 24/7? Just sticking to the plan. If you stick to the plan, everything will solve itself. How to increase your mental tolerance for risk and risk capacity. So this is something with yourself, like what are you okay with losing? Are you okay with losing 1% of your account? Are you okay with losing 2%? So it really just comes down to you. Like I can't tell you what you'd be okay with losing. Like I know guys are willing to lose it all and they don't really give a shit. Like for me, I'm scared if we're going more than like 3-4%. I'm just scared because I'm just not okay with it. You get me? I'm a bitch. Fuck it. Whatever. Like it is what it is. You know? But that's just personally myself. Like I'm very conservative when it comes to that stuff. Exactly. It is, yeah. But yeah, baby steps. But truthfully, if you understand that you're comparing yourself to yourself, and you see that after this Zoom right now, after this whole entire 5 day that we do, and you understand that last month you were losing every trade, you would pull up to the charts and you didn't know what you were doing. Now you pull up to them and you know exactly what you're doing. This should boost your confidence because you're no longer lost. Comparing yourself to yourself last month, you are better. You are 20, 30, 40, 100% better than what you were last month. You're not going to be as better as of me because you don't have the time into it, but that's the whole point of comparing yourself to yourself. You're not going to procrastinate anymore because you understand the craft behind it. There's no emotions because you have a confluence checklist every single time you take a trade. If you don't have these confluences, you just simply don't take the trade. Greed and fear. I'd say out of all of these right here, the only one that you can probably still battle is going to be greed and fear. And then if anything, fear of missing out. Why? Because obviously risk management, I already explained to you. You're only risking a certain percentage you picked for the month and that's it. But when it comes to greed, you wanting to find as many trades as you can with this. So that's going to take a couple uppercuts to the chin for you to realize that you just got to wait for it. And then fear of missing out is when this happens. When this type of trade happens, and then you didn't get inside of it, and then you panic entry the trade. That's going to be your biggest, I guess, hurdle to get into because you got to realize that FOMO, that fear of missing out, you got to understand that the trade is going to either come back or there's going to be another one. And that's it. Like there's no psychology session on FOMO. There is not. Like it's just, if it's gone, peace, there will be another one. That is literally it. If you want to have a whole like reasoning behind fear of missing out, the simple way is just like, bro, there's gonna be another trade. It's like the same way if you miss a big ass wave at the beach, a beautiful wave that would have brought you to shore, or you could have done a kick flip on the wave. I don't know what surfers do. If you missed the wave because you were waxing your board, what are you gonna get mad and leave the beach because you missed the wave? No, you're gonna go back into the beach and wait for the next wave. That's literally it. But obviously, since it's around money, you're tripping out. And it's very understandable. I was there, I've been there. Like, don't you guys see how right now I'm so nonchalant? Like, I literally don't even care that this trade has taken off. Like, I'm like, all right, cool. Wait for the pullback. If not, we'll get another one. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. Obviously, I have fallen off my board 1,000 times and I've missed 1,000 waves. So I understand it. So you guys just have to build up to that. Next week starts a new life for me. Congrats, bro. Only 3 pairs a week, whatever the market gives me. I'm going to give you guys this next upcoming week, my next top 3, top 4, top 5, whatever. I'm going to give you guys it, the markets that I'm going to be trading. How does it feel after your first payout? I mean, there's another one coming, but it did feel good. For real, no, Going funded route next week. Congrats, bro. So what do you guys think so far of this psychology section? I'm gonna have like kind of like a part 2 to it, kind of like a more in detail or like an add-on to this. But I think what I'm gonna do for the next session is I'm just gonna break down this and I'm gonna break down this. I feel like once I break down these two, everything's gonna be more understandable. I don't want to break down this because this is more like money related. Once you understand your money, then you're not scared, but I can still understand fear of missing out. If you take on a one-step challenge, how much would you risk? 1%, 0.5, 1%. I mean, Rocket, like it's literally, they got like a pretty tight drawdown. So probably like 0.5. You get like a 1 to 3, that's, and take profits just 9%. So I don't like the tight stop loss, not gonna lie, but it is a one-step. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think so far?